The Nixon Presidential Library and Museum presents a selection from the White House tapes, Conversation 919-17, which took place on May 16, 1973.
We got a hell of a deal cooking with the Russians, and they ain't about gas. State Department doesn't know anything about it. It's a renunciation of the use of nuclear weapons. It'll be a bombshell like nobody's business. We've already cleared the son of a bitch with the British and the Chinese and so forth. So in other words, it's something that this is the first time it's ever been mentioned as an thing, except with Henry and me, and of course with Teddy, he's aware that we're working on it, and Chou and I through a correspondence. Now, the Russian summit will also include four other very major initiatives, SALT principles, possibly something in the Middle East. What our aim there is to try to get the bastards to agree to some general principles. If they and we agree to some general principles, then we are going to squeeze the Israelis. I am going to squeeze the Israelis. And they will have to squeeze the Egyptians to make an interim settlement until the general principles can be worked out. Now, they're never going to be a general principle ever worked out. Those two sides are never going to agree. But that's the scheme. That's going to be checked. Henry is meeting, lead up to it, he's meeting the Egyptian on the day. Now, that carries us through the 1st of July. If I realize they need big announcements and moves at the present time, anything at the present time that rocks that boat will screw that up royally. It's got to go through. In other words, I've got to get through the Russian summit, which will be, June 28th is the last day. After the Russian summit, I am then in a position to take a look at the whole card. Now, you've got two players here. And the two players are Kissinger and Rogers. Rogers is no problem. Bill's a good soldier. In terms of that, he hasn't been, as we know, the strongest fellow in some of these clutches, but he's a decent man and will do anything we want. He intended to leave in June anyway. He's taking his Latin American trip now. He will have to be here for the Russian summit because I can't prepare somebody. These talks about that minute, you don't run it in a week in front of him. So he'll be there to do the sideshow talks with Gromyko, and he'll sign 4 of the agreements, including several areas that are relevant. You know what I mean? Some people are interested in so two big ones are SALT and the nuclear and the Mideast is still a cliffhanger. All right. That summit begins on June 18th. The preparations for it will begin a week before that. And we are going to do make an awful lot of news in that period, and have done a lot in that period, preparation for it, and so forth. I'm going to see Brezhnev. He runs out of my ears because he wants to be back there next year for a hell of a grand tour of Russia. So I'm taking him to San Connally, and I'm taking him to his game, and I'm taking him to Camp David, where I'm here, not just for the drive, but for the purpose of having talks and showing this. He wants, for some reasons that we don't need to go into, he wants very much to have a good relation with me at this point. I guess he's 60 years old. He always speaks to Roosevelt, the spirit of Yalta, as he called it, Roosevelt and Churchill. The Stalin there and so forth and so on. He says, now that's all the story. He says, you and I have restored it. Our problem, John, is to make the bastard pay a price. Our price is we got to cool it in the Mideast, cool it in Southeast Asia to the extent that he can, and agree as best as we can to keep the arms race out of control. Now these are enormously great goals, and nothing that happens in Washington, nothing else. I don't care if I'm impeached by the Congress. I got to get this done. This is the play. It's more important than the first summer. also got a laugh.
The digital file of this audio recording was sound edited for audibility and clarity. For more information, please visit www.nixonlibrary.gov.